and let us all do we can to build a better future.
Folks, once again, we're seeing human beings being used as political pawns between two out-of-touch political parties. In the one corner, you got DeSantis and his friend Abbott. DeSantis being the governor of Florida, Abbott being the governor of Texas, both part of the Republican Party. And then you have Joe 30330 of the Democratic Party, and of course, all of his colleagues in the Democratic Party as well, in the House and Senate. And this has to do with, again, more migrants being bussed and flown around like pieces on a chessboard, and being treated as pawns, as objects in a game, a sick, twisted game by these politicians. Because now, apparently, as it stands, and this is just madness all around. Let me pull this article up for all of you to see. DeSantis is now sending migrants to Biden's home state of Delaware. So DeSantis apparently sending new plane of migrants to Biden's summer home. Biden's good old summer home. So let's talk about it. So the White House is bracing for the arrival of migrants near President Biden's vacation home in Delaware amid reports that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is expanding a relocation program that last week targeted a liberal enclave off the Massachusetts coast. We all know it, Martha's Vineyard. Yes, all those rich white liberals, and shout out to Sabby Sabs, who did a fantastic job in ripping them a new one. These same people at Martha's Vineyard who probably have Black Lives Matter, we don't have hate speech in this house kind of people, who are quickly, in 44 hours, were able to kick all 50 migrants off of Martha's Vineyard and bus them to a military facility. They get to say they did some hard work. It's kind of interesting, though, that there are plenty of vacant homes. Now, look, I get it. Before anyone types in the comment section below, the vote blue, no matter who people who are going to probably be like, well, kid, there was just too much. There had to be more paperwork. Look, I get it. But look, I'm not going to feel sympathetic towards the people of Martha's Vineyard. These are rich people. And obviously, when their values were put to the test, well, they broke. They don't believe in those words of sanctuary city. They don't believe in any of that. Plus, I doubt any of those fantastic liberals in Martha's Vineyard are ever going to look at the fact the reason why we have such a refugee crisis south of the border is because of, again, regime change wars, coups, and sanctions, and a ridiculous drug war that's causing people to leave Central and South America. Again, it's U.S. foreign policy that's doing it, not because somebody woke up one day and decided, ooh, I'm going to steal somebody's job. No, that's not how it works. All right, so continuing on, we have received word of the flights. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, I hope I said her name right, said during a Tuesday afternoon briefing, we are coordinating closely with state officials and local service providers who are prepped to welcome these families in an orderly manner as they pursue their asylum claims. A charter jet that DeSantis used to send migrants to Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts, was scheduled to take off Tuesday morning from San Antonio, Texas, and make a stop at Crestview, Florida, before landing at the Delaware Coastal Airport, according to the founder of Popular Information newsletter. The tiny airport outside Georgetown, Delaware, is less than 20 miles from Ribos Beach, where Biden and First Lady Jill Biden bought a $2.7 million vacation home just blocks from the Atlantic Ocean in 2017. However, flight tracking sites listed the plane as delayed or with an unknown status. Gee, I hope we find out what happens to those people. And San Antonio Kellyfield Airport confirmed to the Post no flight had taken off for Florida by midday, 4 hours after the plane was scheduled to depart. Wow. So this has raised the possibility that authorities have intervened or that the charter was a decoy. Just mind you, there are people that are being used as pawns. And here's the thing. I hope that these innocent civilians, these innocent migrants, are given respect and are eventually able to make something of themselves in this country. But sadly, we have politicians that are more than happy to use them as pawns, treat them like cattle. And I don't want to hear how one political party is better than the other. Because in Chicago, which is supposedly a sanctuary city too, migrants were bused here as well. And what did our mayor, Lori Lightfoot, do? Oh, she bused them to DuPage County. I will be surprised, generally surprised, if they truly don't get deported. I'll be surprised. Because again, Chicago has a long sad history of being hypocritical. So there you go. All right. But on Monday night, DeSantis rejected the liberal outrage that greeted his Martha's Vineyard flights. Millions of people since Biden's been president illegally coming across the southern border. Did they freak out about that? No, he told Fox News' Sean Hannity. You had migrants die in the Rio Grande. You had 50 die in Texas in a trailer because they were being neglected. Was there a freak out about that? No, there wasn't. And see, the thing is, what I find interesting is DeSantis and Abbott are actually calling out the liberal Democrats for their hypocrisy. We talked about this on yesterday's show when I was with Farron. And let's face it, the Republican Party is literally calling out the Democratic Party for its quote unquote values. And again, a lot of these rich white liberals are more than happy to drop their values as soon as there's a crisis right in front of them. DeSantis added, it's only when 50 get put onto Martha's Vineyard, and not only did they not welcome them, but they deported them the next day with the National Guard. Give me a break. So we're going to stop here for a second. And I want to pull up this video here where it shows, again, really just how out of touch this administration truly is. So, folks, here we go. Let's pull this up here, where Biden is questioned about the migrants that are crossing the border.
More overwhelmed under your watch. Mr. President, on the border, why is it more overwhelmed under your watch? On the border, why is the border more overwhelmed under your watch, Mr. President?
Because there are 3 countries that there are fewer immigrants coming from Central America and from Mexico. This is a totally different circumstance. What's on my watch now is Venezuela, Cuba, and Nicaragua. And the ability to send them back to those states is not rational. You could send them back and have them wait. We're working with Mexico and other countries to see if we can stop the flow. But that's the difference. Thank you.
Now, that, folks, is what you call a word salad. Now, what's a word salad? Well, it's a bunch of hot air. It's a bunch of BS. It's just saying things just to kill time so that people don't ask questions. That's the whole purpose of a word salad, to say things that don't really give an answer. And that's what all these politicians are good at. Both Democrats and Republicans are fantastic at that. So I want to pull this up here too. It's just going to be a short 11 seconds, but it's in regards towards the possibility of migrants being sent to Biden's state of Delaware. So let's play it.
Looks like he's sending migrants to Delaware. Do you have any comment or response to that, sir?
He should come visit. We have a beautiful shoreline.
Nothing about the people. Just for DeSantis to come visit the shoreline. How much you want to bet that there will be a photo op of DeSantis and Biden together, and they'll be having a good time, laughing how they're treating everyone in the United States like suckers, treating everyone here as though we're just pawns in their game too. Because at the end of the day, these politicians, these rich billionaires who are our true rulers at this point, like to see poor people whipped. They like to see Americans struggle. They like to see people being incarcerated. They don't really care about making our lives better. You think any of these politicians who are owned by the billionaires, the Wall Street executives, the bankers really care about their foreign policies impacting Central and South America? The answer is no. You think any of those rich white liberals care about the people that they just deported out? 50 people they called the National Guard, 120, at least according to some reports, 125 members of the National Guard were activated to deal with that, such an overwhelming situation. And in that 44 hours, you get all these stories, all these fluff pieces that you saw on CNN and corporate media, where you had these Martha Vineyard people saying, oh, these people, they taught us so much. Oh, they touched our lives forever. Oh, it was so incredible. We were so happy to help, and just kick them out of our property because our property values cannot go down no matter what. I don't know who's more evil here. The Republican politicians knowing that the sanctuary cities are BS, so they're bussing people out and treating people like pawns, and even though the kids are still in cages, right? Or the Democrats who willingly participate and try and put on this fake mask of saying, oh, we care. Look, I'm not going to tell anyone how to vote, right? But my philosophy is don't vote Democrat, don't vote Republican, vote third party. You don't owe these two parties anything. And if they're willing to treat migrants like this, just remember, they also treat Americans like crap too. They have successfully divided Americans for years. For years. Now, I want to pull up this article here. It's from the New York Post. But it shines a light on just truly what kind of world we're living in. Martha's Vineyard local. Migrants will luck out, get more services than in the South. Okay. Thank you. How out of touch. The 50 migrants who landed on Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts last week were shipped off the island so fast, one local resident was left lamenting she didn't have time to help. Well, you guys are very rich people. Like honestly, there's no poor people on Martha's Vineyard except for the servants. Oh, God, these people in Martha's Vineyard. You know what? I'm so glad that the sea level... you know what? In many ways, I'm glad the sea levels are rising up so their little fancy homes will be washed away. I wish... Hold on. Listen to this, folks. I wish that I had been more involved and that I had heard about it when the migrants' arrival on the island originally happened, said Joyce Dresser told Fox News Digital on Saturday as she sold books during a street festival in Oak Bluffs. That island town is famous for its colorful gingerbread house Victorian homes. Dresser said she learned of the newcomers' arrivals only hours after they landed. But then the illegal immigrants, most of them Venezuelan nationals, were already in the care of St. Andrew's Episcopal Church in Edgartown. I think in the long run, these people are going to luck out. Yeah, they're going to get deported back. They're getting more services than they would have gotten down south. Okay, so let me get this straight, right? To all these cities, including my city, Chicago, Mayor Lightfoot calling you out. When push came to shove, when you could stand up and differentiate yourself from the policies in Texas or in Florida, you're quickly moving people away. Now, obviously, these actions of DeSantis and Abbott are deplorable. They truly are. But the Democrats' action and these liberals at Martha's Vineyard are just as deplorable too. And nothing was different at all. People just getting pushed around, bussed around. These are human beings. Someday, the actions of the politicians and the rich will one day haunt the American people, because someday we as a nation are going to need help. The migrants just spent 44 hours on Martha's Vineyard. Just remember that, 44 hours before they were sent by ferry and bus to Joint Base Cape Cod on the Massachusetts mainland. See, and look, she's saying right there, all right, poor people. All right, migrants, get off my island. Go away. I'm going to pretend smile and give you fake hugs. Everyone's clapping, giving them water bottles, all that stuff. How much you want to bet people like this are never, ever going to do any kind of follow through or look up what's going to happen to all those 50 migrants that landed in Martha's Vineyard? And if they actually do some good, hey, guess what? I'll apologize. I truly will apologize. But I'm not going to sit here and smile and laugh and say, oh, wow, good job for the people in Martha's Vineyard. They were there for 44 hours, kicked them out. And again, their Governor Charlie Baker activated 125 members of the National Guard to help provide services for the migrants. I'm very proud of what Martha's Vineyard has done. Yeah, you kicked them out. I'm hoping to get some clothes together and hopefully they can distribute them because they're not dressed for New England, she added. Migrants were sent from Florida, obviously by Governor Ron DeSantis, to Martha's Vineyard to highlight the plight faced by the U.S. border towns and other southern communities that have been overwhelmed by illegal immigrants. So we're going to stop right here. Chat, do you think it's going to get better? Honestly, I'm talking to the live stream chat. Is it going to get any better? Because in regards towards how all these migrants are being treated, how the American people are getting treated, how these politicians are treating us like pawns, I'm left wondering, when's the breaking point when people say enough from these politicians? They're willing to treat people like cattle. And you have all these jagoff actors, rich people saying, oh, we got to vote Democrat. We have to vote Democrat because we got to stop fascism in America. Oh, and then of course you have a lot of people who also vote Republicans say, oh, we got to vote Republican because we got to stand for freedom. Both parties don't care about you. They don't care about regular people. If you vote Democrat or Republican, you're a very good puppet. If you actually believe that your politician in the United States Senate and House, or either that a Republican or Democratic presidential administration actually give a damn about you, you're very brainwashed. You're a good puppet, and you need to wake up to the fact that these politicians only listen to their donors. Who profits from all the migrants coming south of the border? Well, of course, first of all, you got the prison industrial complex, you got the police state, you got the military industrial complex, you got surveillance, and of course, you got corporations that are profiting off of cheap slave labor. Call it what it is. Call it what it is. Nothing has fundamentally changed. And when the problem was brought to the doorstep of sanctuary cities or areas that claim to care about refugees where no person is truly illegal, the people of Martha's Vineyard broke, being typical hypocritical liberals. And then, of course, you got here in Chicago, Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Well, she's a hypocrite through and through. Nothing's going to fundamentally change if you support the Democratic and Republican Party. We got to be better than this.